With the fifth movie in the Toy Story franchise confirmed, we took to the internet to find out exactly what people are predicting. It's pretty well agreed upon that Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending, and Toy Story 4 was a pretty good epilogue. But where do the toys go from here? Today we're looking at some theories that have been circulating to see which ones we like and which ones might need a bit more thought. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are Toy Story 5 theories that we love and hate. Starting out our list, we have two ideas presented by Reddit user Brookings18. Their first suggestion revolved around a new cast of toys. The user was under the impression that since the main cast of toys got their story ending, it would make sense that the next film would focus instead on a new group of toys. This theory implied that the cast would even have a completely different child, rather than focusing on Bonnie or possibly Molly. Seeing as Tim Allen and Tom Hanks have both been confirmed as coming back for the fifth movie, this theory is unlikely to say the least. And we have to say that we don't like the theory anyway.
You think you're special, cowboy?
If Disney is going to revive the Toy Story series, we feel that most people would want to see the original gang. This user's second idea focused on Woody and Bo continuing to save lost toys. This idea called back to the ending of the fourth film, recalling how Woody and Bo set off to travel and find more toys to help. This makes a bit more sense. It would follow the scenes set by the previous movie and allow us to see how Woody could grow from his choice to stay with Bo. After all, for the majority of the franchise, Woody had been adamant about his role in Andy's and later Bonnie's life. When the fourth movie came out, some viewers questioned why the writers would present Woody as being so uncertain of his place. But there is potential here. After all, we already saw Woody beginning to doubt himself in the second movie, when he nearly joined Pete, Jesse, and Bullseye for the Toy Museum. We actually really like the idea of seeing Woody regain his confidence with his new identity.
Well, what a good idea.
While both of the ideas Brookings18 brought up would read more as spin-offs rather than a real continuation of the story, the latter option seems more likely to be used by Pixar. The next theory comes from Reddit user Bloodpaw Werewolf, who believes that Woody may regret his choice. They stated that he may just return to Andy or Bonnie. The user didn't go far into detail, but thought that Disney and Pixar may just go back on the choice Woody made so they can return to the successful formula from before. This ties into the idea that the franchise is becoming nothing more than a cash cow, and that the storyline is secondary to the profit that can be made. Admittedly, it is a fair observation considering how much money Toy Story has made in the past between tickets, toy sales, and merchandise.
You're breaking ranks, Ranger.
But we have mixed feelings about this theory. On one hand, we don't really like dialing back the established storyline, but it is a reasonable guess. After all, Woody had doubted himself in Toy Story 2, so what's to say he wouldn't regret leaving Bonnie? Several users agreed that Pixar and Disney would be too far tempted to return to what worked before. Many believe that the toys will band together again to be gifted to Andy's children. Fans of these movies have found a lot of ways to link all of the small tidbits together to imply dozens of coincidences, such as implying that Andy's mom was Jesse's former owner. And keeping up with the idea of it's a small world after all, quite a few people on Reddit agree it's likely that the toys will be reunited by Andy or Molly to be given as gifts for any children Andy would have, or even possibly children Molly could have.
Who's in charge here?
On the one hand, it would be crazy to see the toys with Andy again. It might be something some of the fan base would enjoy. However, we can't say this is a great idea. After all, the ending of the fourth movie showed us that everyone was slowly trying to move on and get past their lives with Andy. It would be a bit upsetting if after all of that doubt and growth, they simply ended up with their former owner again. In fact, one could argue it would totally ruin the ending of the third movie. Reddit user Bkey404 took this idea further. They started off their premise similarly to the previous entry, stating that if Andy or Molly found out that Bonnie lost the toys Andy gave her, they would go hunting them down. This idea focused more on the idea of Andy leading the charge and having him finally find Woody, but with a twist. They went on to describe a scene where Andy would end up finding out that Woody is sentient. Woody, either by accident or on purpose, would be in a compromising position where Andy would be faced with the fact that not only was Woody alive, but so were the other toys.
It's code red.
You know what to do. Yes, sir.
Woody would then explain everything and would go into detail on what he and the other toys went through in the previous movies. He would mention Sid and how he and Buzz did in fact go missing in the first movie.
This is the perfect time to panic.
He would talk about his fear and confusion in the second movie, mentioning Al at the museum. He would then talk about the daycare and how Bonnie made him feel underappreciated, how questioning his place in Bonnie's life led him to seek out other toys to help. This idea would lead to Andy gathering all the toys together and traveling with them to find other lost toys. Now, this implies that Andy dedicates his life entirely to his toys, which he now embraces as in fact sentient. The idea of discovering that the toys are sentient is interesting, but we have to say that Andy devoting his life to helping Woody would be lackluster for the same reason as the previous theory. As we stated before, Andy said his goodbyes to the gang. Seeing him rejoined with them would make the end of the third movie pretty meaningless, and fans wouldn't be able to enjoy what many consider to be a perfect ending. The idea of sentience does lead us to another possible option, however. We never got to see how Sid turned out after all. Fans noticed that a man that was assumed to be Sid was shown in the third movie working as a garbage man. Many speculated that Sid was influenced by his encounter with Woody and the other toys, leading him to have a career in trying to save any salvageable toys he could find. This could lead to an interesting interaction for a number of reasons. First off, the existence of Forky implies that there are other possible sentient pieces made by children in the trash. Seeing as Sid was a child that was fascinated by the process of making toys on his own, it would be plausible for him to gather any other sentient garbage he would find in order to give them another chance at life.
Gotcha.
His job as a garbage man would also mean Sid would be given a few different opportunities to encounter Woody or Buzz again. If Buzz chose to go after Woody to drag him back, Sid could possibly be placed into a situation where he would be able to help Buzz reunite with Woody. Buzz had been the one to convince Woody at the end of Toy Story 2 to abandon the idea of the museum, so it would stand to reason that he would be the one to convince Woody to go back to Bonnie. And seeing as Tim Allen is confirmed to be in the fifth movie, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that he would make it his mission to drag Woody back to others. Another option is that he could come across Bo and Woody helping toys and show the pair any toys he himself has saved. He could possibly join their cause and make it easier for them to find lost toys. The idea of the toys running into Sid again could give him a reward to longtime fans of the series. Disney and Pixar have been on the trend of creating antagonists that aren't straight up evil like Clayton from Tarzan or Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, so seeing Sid redeemed would fit into their recent trends. We wouldn't mind seeing more villains like Lotso, but we have to say we really love the idea of seeing Sid again. Our final Toy Story 5 theory is that all of the toys would join Woody and Bo. In the beginning of the third movie, the toys referenced that their friend Wheezy was no longer with them. While sad, this was a choice made since the voice actor for Wheezy, Joe Rampt, had passed away in 2005. By the time the fifth movie will be released, we unfortunately have 2 more confirmed deaths among the beloved cast. The voice talent for both Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, Estelle Harris and Don Rickles, have both passed on. Now there is a small chance that they could have some audio to use for these 2 characters, as Pixar did for Doc Hudson in Cars 3, but it's far more likely that the writers will decide on simply writing the 2 off. And with Bonnie being shown as disinterested in Andy's toys, it would be easy to simply say that the couple was tossed away or sold off. This could be a good starting point for the fifth movie, as it would push Buzz into leading the rest of the gang to find Woody, and join him in his mission to help find lost toys.
What now, inner voice?
Mission accomplished. Return to base.
The darker tone would also match up well with the tone of films Pixar is slowly becoming known for. We don't like to use the word depressing when discussing Pixar, but they have had quite a few movies revolving around life, death, and generational trauma. We have to admit that seeing Buzz come to the realization that Woody made the right choice would be hard to see and has the potential for a lot of character growth. So we'll say that we really like the idea of seeing more development with our favorite toys. But let us know in the comments section what your Toy Story 5 predictions are, and if you agree with any of these. Make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our other videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.